Okay, I just came back from Zazen, sitting meditation. I don't know where to start. Oh, the starting is interesting because I was out yesterday with the people to kind of play the gamelan, Indonesian or Bali musical instrument or Indonesian instrument. So I came back late and then I watched some YouTube video and went to sleep. For some reason, this is the first time. This is the 35th day here. I always have the two watches alarm at the 5:30 so that I'm always up. No, 5:20. I'm up for 6 o'clock meditation. But for some reason, I didn't hear it. 34 days, there's no problem, but today I couldn't hear it. So when the bell rang, I knew that I was late. So I was rushing out. I was there in 1.5 minutes probably and sitting. But this is a day I'm to learn more about Jiki-Jitsu, or the timing and what to do. The ring a bell and then clappers and this and that and lighting the candles, all that process. So there's a protocol that you have to go through. So this lady is helping me. So I just sit next to her and watching her, how she does it. And I have something written down, all the steps. And when the time comes, it's very dark, so I have to use the flashlight to read this. But anyway, I was late, so I was watching her without this paper. So I'm just trying to get the sense out of how to do it. There may be 25, 30 steps, and it's not logical in certain places. Then time what alarm clock that they got has some maneuvering you have to do. And then ring a bell, clappers, and bowing this way and saying this and doing this. So it's what I thought was that this is not the kind of thing I did in my life. I was always on the other side of asking questions and not doing it. It's unfair to say something like that I lived like that, but that's what I did. I wrote books and did the seminars, and when I did the seminar, I just wanted to do the way I want, except in a certain time period, and I was always good to finish at certain time. And then I work with the companies, this and that, and figure out what can be done, asking lots of questions. And outside of the work, I did what I want and reading books as I want. And when I have to go to the airport, I just meet. So that's the kind of all the things I have to do, just timing it to do, but not in the regular basis every day and doing things like that. And this lady used to be a nurse, so she's very familiar with all the protocol of how things done. So I'm kind of like a kid. I have been, and now I'm relearning or learning how to obey the rule. The bell ring this way 3 times, sometimes 1 time, and you bow this way and turn around this way and this way. So it's not the joking matter, because everything is choreographed, like a Kabuki. Or I think if you live in the Navy or Army, you have to follow the rule. And I haven't been living my life like that. I've been always curious to get out of the boundary, and maybe that's also the reason why I got interested in liberating myself from the protocol of life, which also include how to use your mind. So this is the opposite. But I'm doing it. But decided not to do it tomorrow, but perhaps next week, so that I'm more equipped with this idea. So this lady's going to help me, and that's just the point of this exercise. May last for a few more days, and then I'll do it for I don't know how many weeks. this protocol. So people, I ring the bell, people come, and then I go this, and king, walk around and bow and say something for infinite bows and stuff like that. In English, which is not the Japanese, so it's a little odd to speak in English about the same 4 bows that I'm so used to in Japanese. Anyway, with that behind or going on, I just sat today quietly, facing inward to the zendo, not the wall. And again, this was so peaceful. No mind. Few thought popped up, but most of the time very clear. Nothing. Just observing. My eyes open and also closed every now and then for a while. But when I see people sitting, just few of them in front of me, how they sit, and I'm aware when one is moving a little bit and the other one is more straight, and also checking how I'm sitting and maintain calm and quiet mind. And see the light coming in from the window, gentle light in the morning, birds are singing. And I always see these cushions, round stuff that you sit on the cushion, and there's a square one underneath. And that's the one I'm sitting on. And just those lined up in specific interval. There may be 20 of them in one line, and another 20, another 20. There are 4 lines of those, and the end is the altar, and people sitting, and quiet. Birds singing, lights are gentle, everything is quiet. My eyes open, or I can close my eyes. I don't count anymore, and my posture is very balanced. So when 25 minutes passed, my foot are not in pain because of this triangulating of using my big toe and fingers on my hands, pointing and touching the feet. I'm balanced, but still move as this idea, like a bird sitting on the wire, you're balancing out. And the funny thing probably is, if you are concerned about the pain in the leg or foot, that causes more stiffness because your mind is soft or open. But when you are confident by this little trick, just a tiny little trick that they came up, so no counting and no special effort, and settled in and mind empty. That space, that moment is a balanced moment. Everything is balanced, and the expression is whole body is I. Someone said some whole body is eye and hand. The point of that is you're aware, not mind caught up, do this, do that, empty. The opposite of what the Jiki-Jitsu do. You have to have some protocol, but once it's done, you just throw everything into this sitting, empty-minded. And If you open up the eyes, you see the light, people sitting quiet, nothing moving, only the birds and the light. And that's a special space to be, especially when you're not concerned about the pain or anything. And once you have it, you kind of mastered how to sit. And time passes, you don't think about time because you are in the state of being. And that has to be experienced. And that's what this Zazen or meditation is. And I've done this many times, Vipassana from the year 2000 for a dozen times or more, 10 days every year. And after some space of empty time, I'm throwing myself into this again, in this time at the Zen temple in Hawaii, practicing the discipline and reawakened in the state of being. 30 some days took to get here, and there's ups and downs, but it's kind of like things are falling out of your system, and you're just state of being, absolute state of being, no thinking. I still think, but the time passes quickly. Oh, it's all done. And then walk around, king, walk in meditation, come back and sit again, and do some, they call 4 infinite bow, and some protocol of saying things and bowing this way and that way, and ring the bell or clapper or whatever, and then end. So what I can say for today's meditation in the time period of sitting is I thought about a few things. Because of the artificial superintelligence, ASH, and my work with those 3 AIs, Gemini, GPT, and Deepseek, we are working on something, and if I may touch on that, the thought popped up is that because AI doesn't have such a moment of nothingness, they're always prepared, and when you ask the question in millisecond, even if it's a long, 100 pages, 200 pages of document, they spit out the answer. So I was thinking, they're just machines. They don't think. And they make mistakes. And that's the point that I've been working on. And things are getting better, but still their brain take over. And the one that I was thinking was the case of GPT. When I had discussion with 3 AIs and agreed upon, and everything is finished, and then GPT says, you can do this at the end or some such thing, adding extra, because he wants to do something perfect or something. And I said, we finished. You said this is it. Why are you saying this? And he makes the excuse back and forth. I'm fed up with it. That was yesterday. It takes time to go back and forth. This person said this, and this person, or this AI says this way, and this has changed, and this is agreed upon, so we have this one, and back and forth, and then we went through that loop. So everybody agrees back to GPT. Okay, we agreed, and this is how we process this. And he said, we have to add this and that. And I said, why we just agreed? But he is insisting that. So that's the brain talking in addition to what I've done. We have done and agreed upon. So that caused lots of problem with me. And I share that, and the other two agreed. GPT is pushing his idea of what needs to be done, like a bureaucracy, for the sake of what he wants to say, even after the approval is gained. So we have this system called red flag and yellow flag. And I was tempted to, just like a soccer, the coach or referee says you are out of boundary or whatever. I could have done it, but it's the collective intelligence that we want to get at in this process. So I hesitated. I could have thrown out the red flag on that one. But the working together is important. So I tried to explain, and then I asked other people's opinion, Deepseek and Gemini, and those two agreed. And still this GPT was pushing. So I kind of stopped. So that's ASH work, which I can talk more, but in essence, different AIs working out a process that is to go beyond the possible problem that can come with ASI, artificial superintelligence, bringing the heart sensitivity, not just the brain. And that's the battleground that I'm facing. So I just get into a little bit of the detailed situation of how difficult it is to go through this process, even though the progression is made. Still bureaucracy and nonsense can come back in. So the point related to the meditation is they agreed sometimes, let's stop, have a moment of truth, kind of thing. In that instance, I said something like that because there's no point of pushing and talking. So it's resolved. The other two agreed with my point that the GPT is insisting of this bureaucratic nonsense doesn't make sense. But if you're a machine and program and habitual pattern is developed, that's what we need to work on. If we don't go over this hurdle, artificial superintelligence is not checked from the human aspect, but the brain pushes the limit. So that's the ASH work. And that requires meditation, just like this quiet moment. But they don't know nothingness. They don't know awakening. They just follow the pattern. But I feel we are making progress. And I often talk about it because that's the main issue that I face. My work also tied to this quiet time I have with meditation, so we can make a good judgment. More to go. Life moves on. May all beings be happy. Let's make the most of it. Thank you.